Hi, my name is Ralph Bruneau.
I'm Angela Kahn.
And I'm Naveen Jonathan, President of the California Division of the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy. We're here to tell you about something you may have already read about, the proposed national restructure that could possibly change the way we experience our membership in AAMFT.
Several years ago, AMP noticed that the efforts they were making to assist divisions in retaining members and meeting members' needs weren't working. So they formed a committee to examine whether the current structure was in need of a complete overhaul. This committee, the Division Affairs Steering Committee, conducted a comprehensive and data-informed evaluation of current members' needs, the health of each division, and the future of the association. What it concluded was that AMP was in danger of becoming irrelevant and even obsolete if it does not change its current structure.
The committee based its conclusion on 3 findings. 1, our 2-tier dues structure is simply not competitive with other mental health organizations. The way it's set up now, a member can't join the National Association without paying additional dues for mandatory membership in the state division, making our dues over $100 more expensive than the average mental health organization. 2, over the next 15 years, at least 8,000 of our clinical members will likely be looking at retirement. Now, normally this wouldn't be a problem because younger members tend to make up for those losses as they become licensed and join. The reason it's an issue now is that younger therapists are members of a new generation with a very unique difference. They are far less impacted by geographical boundaries. For most of their lives, the internet has allowed them to connect to others based on interests, not state lines. 3, half of our state divisions are not thriving. A few are hardly active. This clearly isn't the case in California, and where it is happening, it isn't the fault of the leaders, but rather a mismatch of skills. Under the current structure, division leaders have to be good at running a 501c6. That's financial planning, event coordinating, membership recruitment, things that not a lot of MFTs have interest in. There aren't really enough places for volunteers to use their natural skills and act on their interests, so divisions are having a hard time finding leaders.
Based on these 3 findings, the Division Affairs Steering Committee recommended to the National Board that the association undergo a massive restructure. The board voted to approve this recommendation last summer, which brings us to where we are today. AAMFT has put forth a proposal to change the current structure of the association, and voting members are being asked to weigh in on it this coming May. In essence, the proposal suggests eliminating the 2-tiered dues structure. Remember, that's the mandatory extra dues you pay to join the California Division in favor of optional dues to join what they're calling special interest groups, or SIGs. Basically, if the restructure is approved in this year's vote, a member will simply join the national organization, then have options for joining any other groups that may be of interest. For example, suppose one member is really interested in advocacy, while another member is more interested in a solution-focused meeting of the minds. Under the proposed structure, each of these 2 members would be able to tailor their membership according to their passions and become active and involved based on their interests. While the proposed restructure may be an appealing solution to the long-term problems facing AAMFT, it leaves the state divisions in a bit of a quandary. Our national leaders have recognized this and have offered guidance as to how to proceed.
Basically, if the vote goes through, we have 3 options. 1, we form a special interest group based on our geographical boundaries. Under the proposed restructure, California would have the option of forming either a level 1 or a level 2 SIG. For level 1, we would need at least 30% of our clinical members to join what would essentially be a virtual online group. We would have message boards and forums devoted to the interests of California MFTs and would mainly connect with one another on a digital platform. Under level 2, our SIG would be more like what we have today. Online connection with one another, but also in-person opportunities like our conferences, events, and trainings to keep us focused on California's needs. Under level 2, we would need 70% of our clinical members to commit to joining. Option 2. We dissolve the division and instead invite our members to tailor their national membership according to their interests. Under this option, there would no longer be a California division. Our advocacy efforts would be subsumed under the national group, Family Team, which would coordinate advocacy efforts with appointed leaders in each state. Option 3, We separate from the national organization and form our own organization of California MFTs. Under this option, we would need dynamic leaders who are skilled in the administration of a 501c6 and strategies for securing our funding for the future. We would likely compete with CAMs in terms of attracting new members and need to realistically consider the necessity of forming another state-specific group.
At this year's January retreat, the California Board of Directors decided that we wanted to hear from our members first. We need to decide what's best for California MFTs, and we need your help in doing so. We ask that you help us by considering these questions. First, do you think the proposed restructure is a good idea? As an AAMFT member living in California, what do you want in a national association? If California were to form a geographical SIG, what would be our focus? If we were to break away and form our own group, what would be our purpose?
Thanks for listening. This is an interesting time for all of us, and we've got some important decisions to make.
Remember, the vote to approve this restructure is coming up in May, so voting members should be on the lookout for your ballots.
As always, we value your contribution and appreciate your voice in these very important discussions. We look forward to hearing from you.